So good morning, everybody. It's a bright Friday morning, and today my guest is Andrew Graham from Dunport Capital for our business spotlight. So good morning, Andrew. You're very welcome.
Good morning, Tom. Thank you very much for having me.
Great to have you on board here today. So listen, for our viewers here today, can we start off by asking you, what is it that you do and how long have you been doing it?
No problem at all, Tom. So in terms of a background, I'm a chartered accountant by profession. And I would probably best describe what I do as a financier of various sorts for probably the best part of 25 years, spanning from advisory, corporate finance advisory, into mainstream banking. I was with Bank of Ireland for the best part of 19 years, both the business and corporate end of the business, so financing, management buyouts, corporate takeovers, mergers and acquisitions, predominantly for Irish SMEs, mid-corporates and corporate businesses, but some international businesses as well. Since then, I have joined Dunport Capital, as you outlined there, and Dunport Capital are an alternate lending platform backed by institutional investors that lend and invest into Irish SMEs and UK businesses. So any business that is of a trading background, we're happy to look and assess in terms of support and capital provisions.
So it's an alternative banking solution for SMEs.
Correct, that's it exactly, Tom. And the kind of average deal we look at ranges from the small end, probably 1 to 2 million, up to about 40 million odd. So it takes a good cohort of Irish trading SMEs in that.
Okay, so you're in the larger end of it, the 1 million plus area of it.
Correct.
Fantastic. And tell me, COVID obviously came along, the big C word, and did that cause many issues for you? And what were one or two of the actions that you had to take because of the pandemic?
I think it caused issues for a lot of people, Tom, and caused a lot of people to have to adapt, challenge their resilience generally. There has been some positives out of it. Those positives, I suppose, was the acceleration in part to greater levels of flexible working regimes that can accommodate a variety of family requirements. And as I said, the kind of supports that were put in place at the start of COVID, I think, floated the market quite substantially, helped prop up and support an awful lot of businesses through a variety of regimes. I think more interestingly, coming off the back of that now is probably a more interesting time in the market with the likes of the revenue warehousing starting to get tapered back and repaid. I think it's probably caused businesses to consider the benefit of scale, the markets that they're looking to address, the type of customers that they rely on, and equally the logistics and supply chain that they run their businesses through.
A lot of keywords there that resonate with me big time there. So tell me, you're a director of the business. So what has been the biggest learning you've had since you came out of, an employee status? What's the biggest learning that you've had?
Great question. I would have to say you're probably more attuned to business owners' requirements and how tough it can be for entrepreneurs and businesses to manage their business, scale and grow successfully with a view to exiting and generating a good return for themselves. There's a massive cohort of trading businesses out there, various shapes and sizes and sectors. I would have to say the resilience of those business owners to adapt through COVID, even the more challenging times we're having now with the likes of Brexit and what's happening in Ukraine and Europe, and ensure that their business lives are successful and that their family lives are equally successful.
I like that. Getting that balance is very important there. So tell me, when you were growing up, Andrew, is this what you always wanted to do?
I kind of fell into it more than anything else, Tom. I'm the son of a chartered accountant. I'm married to a chartered accountant, and my wife's father's a chartered accountant.
Oh, my goodness.
The writing was in the stars there. I've always had a passion for trading companies, and having a background as an accountant gave me a good ability to assess and look at cash flows, working capital, and what businesses actually need to scale and grow So I found it quite easy, and I suppose as a result of that, I kind of fell into it more by accident than design.
Okay, and tell me then, what are the biggest learnings that you got out of business and in life in general?
I suppose one of the biggest ones for me, Tom, is to be empathetic with people you deal with. Listen carefully to what they're saying and equally what they're not saying. And where you have the ability to influence and assist or help somebody, even if there's nothing in it for yourself, personally, from a personal or professional perspective, help where you can.
Absolutely, that's very good. So tell me, I have to ask you this, being the business I'm in, have you ever had a coach? And if you have, who was the best coach you ever had?
I have, Tom. Yes, no, I've benefited certainly from support through my career in terms of coaching. I've had coaches both within organizations that I've worked in and outside. I suppose it can act as a very good means and mechanisms to check in on a monthly, quarterly, half-yearly basis to ensure that what you're looking to do with your career is measurable, heading in the right direction, and delivering what it is that you're looking to achieve, as I said, in your career, but equally not to get blinkered and realize that there's also a life outside of your career that you need to be equally as cognizant of.
It's funny, I can hear some of your languaging there, which resonates, which I hear through my coaching journey myself. So tell me, Andrew, what does the future look like for you? And what do you see as potentially the main challenges moving forward?
Oh, wow, that's a very loaded question. Difficult question on the morning.
All well designed, all well designed.
No doubt, no doubt. I suppose the challenges are for businesses facing into the inflationary environment we find ourselves in at the moment. The issues at a geopolitical level that are starting or have already kicked off worldwide, and how they influence businesses and how governments, policymakers, and institutions and providers of capital can adapt and assist those businesses. I think that's going to be really, really interesting to observe. From a personal perspective, I suppose it creates great opportunities for businesses to survive and grow, potentially, be it through deciding to make acquisitions if they need to benefit of scale, or decide ultimately, you know what, I've taken this business as far as I can take it. I need to now consider an exit. It could be succession planning, intergenerational families. I think a lot of those things got parked over the last couple of years while people had to hunker down and consider dealing with the day-to-day trials and tribulations of what was happening in the markets. Hopefully now, as that eases, those business owners and individuals will be given more time to consider what's best for them and act upon it.
Okay, just a question I'm going to throw in here. Would you, in the businesses that you're dealing with on a daily basis, do you think they're changing fast enough?
Some of them are, Tom, some of them aren't. Some of them, I suspect, aren't capable of change at the pace at which the markets that they serve are changing. That can be a function of sheer exhaustion, lack of interest, inability, or unable to see the necessity for the change that they need to bring about in the businesses.
I often find it's interesting that change is something that people say, oh yeah, we can do that, but change is very difficult. You might try it, but then you slip back to your old ways again. That's
absolutely.
And we have. So tell me, what's the best advice you would give to an 18-year-old you?
An 18-year-old me, that's more than 1 or 2 years ago, unfortunately. I can remember back that far, Tom. I suppose enjoy the experience, listen to the wisdom of others, sense check what people are telling you. So don't take information blindly. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them in that proportional ratio. And observe those characteristics of people that you look up to in terms of how they go about what they do and what makes them very successful, very thoughtful about what they do.
Okay, excellent. So tell me, how would people contact you? And is it dunportcapital.com? Yes.
It is indeed, Tom. Yeah, dunportcapital.com is our website.
And I want to contact you.
Our various funds that we lend through. Our two main funds is the main fund is primarily institutional backed. It's 335 million of a fund, so plenty of capital and capacity to lend to trading businesses. And there's contact details through the website as well. And where you contact Dunport, you'll always receive a timely and fast response and an engagement.
And I presume, because a lot of people I find can be afraid to contact a company such as yours. So I presume you have a policy there where it's okay for people just to ring up and say, I'd like to talk to somebody just to get a feeling for what it is you can do for me. I presume that's okay.
Absolutely, Tom. 80% of what I do every day is exactly that. It's conversation with people to try and understand what it is they're looking to achieve. And quite often what you find is through those conversations, people start giving more thought to what their options may be and are willing to explore them more. And quite often, it may not necessarily be a decision that they're looking to make now, but quite often they might come back in a couple of months or
yes,
months, 12 months time when the time is right for them.
Yeah, excellent. Andrew Graham, can I thank you very much indeed for getting up so early this Friday morning? I hope you go off and play nice golf today if you get a chance to do so. I'm certainly hoping to do so myself later on. But thank you for now, and I really appreciate you investing your time with this, and I'm sure our audience got an awful lot out of this. Thank you so much.